Mi gente, hello and welcome to Kica's Corner. Buenas tardes, todo el mundo. My name is Kica Matos and I am your host. The goal for this show is to focus on interesting topics or people, social justice issues, and maybe a scandal or two. But always, 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 whatever we talk about will always have a social justice edge. Our topics for conversation today include food, social justice, and entrepreneurship. And wow, I got that word out without having to pronounce it more than once. We're going to talk mostly about Havenly, which is a relatively new nonprofit organization that was started in New Haven and combines all three of these elements. In the studio with me today are three people who are connected to Havenly. We have Caterina Passoni, who is the executive director and co-founder of Havenly, and she's a recent Yale graduate. We have Nida.
Yes, Nida.
Nida,
Yes.
who is head chef and lead trainer at Havenly. And last but not least, we have Ben Wise. Ben is a current student at Yale, and he's also a co-founder of Havenly. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So glad to have you. So Caterina and Ben, tell me how and why you decided to create Havenly.
Sure. Why don't you go ahead and get started and I'll fill in.
So, as you mentioned, I went to Yale, and I studied issues. I actually studied Middle Eastern politics and issues of displacement in the Middle East specifically. And as a student at Yale, I also studied Arabic because I love learning new languages.
Okay.
So
and what you speak 6 languages?
Yes. So that's always been sort of my thing, learning new languages. And so I was trying to practice Arabic, so I signed up as a cultural companion at IRIS.
And what does a cultural companion do?
So basically, they're assigned to a newly arrived refugee family, and they are just basically tasked with bringing them around New Haven, showing them around the city, sort of just helping with the transition. So they're not really a social worker. They're just kind of a friend. You know, you go out for movies, you go out into the cities and things like that.
And for those of you who are in the audience and don't know about IRIS, IRIS is New Haven's premier advocacy organization that helps refugees with resettlement and does advocacy on refugee issues.
Exactly. So I was assigned to Nida's family, actually. Nida's here with us 4 years ago. And in the beginning, sort of just met with her each week, and then we just became really, really good friends with her whole family. And I spent every weekend sort of having a delicious meal at her house, sharing and just like amazing food. And I'm actually from Italy, so having homemade meals was just really made me feel at home. And Nida was really struggling to find a job for a really long time. And so I decided to start an employment project at Yale, where we were trying to sort of figure out how we could use student resources to help out with the issue of unemployment in New Haven.
And unemployment specifically for refugees, families?
Yes.
Okay.
And so initially what we thought, we worked with IRIS and assigned basically Yaleys to refugees looking for a job that were kind of stuck in cycles of unemployment. And what it looked like was pretty traditional employment counseling, sort of building a resume, interview prep, looking for a job. And it worked pretty well, but we realized that it really wasn't enough for a lot of our clients, and especially for women specifically. Because women.
Why is that? Why is that?
Yeah, so I think, one, because integration and resettlement efforts are often skewed towards men, so it's much easier. Men are traditionally viewed as heads of households, so it's just directed and targeted towards them, and it's just easier to find a job.
Okay.
Also, all women face additional issues in finding a job, such as childcare. Some of the women we were working with had never had a formal job, and so that was sort of one of the major challenges we were facing.
Okay.
And so we started thinking about how we could do something beyond just sort of traditional employment counseling. And that's when Ben sort of enters the picture.
Yeah, so my background is sort of in food and cooking. Ever since middle school, it's just been a huge part of my life, beyond sort of just the practice of making food, but the idea that food can be this space where so much can happen, whether it's environmental work, social justice work, you name it. And so with that background, I joined Caterina and Alessandro's team, and honestly,
and who's Alessandro?
Alessandro is our third co-founder who has graduated last year as well and has stayed on in an advisory board sort of position. So continues his engagement with Havenly, but from beyond New Haven's boundaries.
Okay.
And so anyway, I joined the team and saw the incredible work they were doing. And Katerina was also telling me about her friendship with Nida and the fact that every time she went over to her house, she was greeted with this incredible plate of food, you know, variety of different dishes on this giant silver platter, which I've had the absolute pleasure of enjoying myself now that Nida and I hang out as well. And essentially, the dots were on the table. We have this huge issue of unemployment in the New Haven refugee community, specifically amongst women, but also so many of them are incredibly talented chefs.
Okay.
And so what we sort of came to was that students are uniquely positioned to help connect those dots to try to create more opportunities for employment in the food industry for female refugees in New Haven. That's a very grand sort of goal, but it really simply started with the idea of trying to sell Nida's snacks and foods in the butteries. So the butteries are these kitchens in the basements of all the residential colleges that, you know, are open from 10 p.m. until 1 a.m., serving chicken fingers, grilled cheese, quesadillas, from, you know, for late night eats when students are hungry.
The students with the munchies.
Exactly, but also procrastinating and wanting to social space, right?
Okay.
And so we were offering something else, right? Nida started with offering things like hummus, falafel, of course, the baklava, fatayr, anything. It was just this incredible array of foods. And last spring, we sort of just used it as a trial process. And from that experience, baklava sort of rose to the top in terms of the fact that it was a total crowd pleaser. And with the sort of embrace that we felt from the Yale community, the momentum just picked up and up. Within a month, we had doubled our revenues and also won the Sci-City Summer Fellowship, which is a program for Yale students who have entrepreneurial ventures and want to work on it over the summer. So Nida and a group of Havenly students, including Katerina, worked on Havenly over the summer, doing product development, sort of developing further connections in New Haven and getting ready for the year ahead.
So walk me through, because your program seems to be quite multi-layered. So
Totally.
If I were a refugee woman and I was a really good cook or chef, your idea is to provide some level of training, which I believe Nida supports, and I'm going to ask Nida a couple of questions in a little bit, but you provide some level of support and training, but you also have the marketing piece of it, which is to make sure that these entrepreneurs are actually successful. How does that actually work? So if I'm newly resettled in New Haven, I'm a woman, I know how to cook, I cook good food, how would Havenly engage me?
Sure. So Iris is one of our closest collaborators and partners in the New Haven community, as has been mentioned. And so we work with them to sort of see what the pool of folks that are interested in this kind of program are. And then there's an application process in which we decide to onboard, that's where we get our pool of fellows.
Okay.
So in addition to just being a food business, Havenly has also started a fellowship program.
And how many fellows do you take in every year?
This is the first iteration. This semester has been the first iteration. And so we have 2 brand new fellows who are awesome.
Okay.
And we hope that number grows exponentially. So the idea of the fellowship is that we can maximize our impact by providing this job readiness training program over the course of these 4 months, and then pair these female refugee chefs with a job at the end of the program. We're not training them sort of in the cooking, right? Because as you said, they're incredible chefs. In the kitchen with Nida, they're learning what it's like to work in a commercial space. In addition to those sort of commercial kitchen training sessions, they're also receiving courses on a variety of different topics, including sort of digital literacy, financial literacy, tax law, all sorts of things to help them be as informed as possible in terms of entering the workforce. So we would work directly with Iris to engage the fellows. That would be the first point of contact. And then from there, there's an interview and application process.
And then they go through this training. And then at the end, do you place them in restaurants, or are you looking to market their products, or a combination of both?
No, so right now we are very much focused on just job placement.
Okay.
And that's also because City Seated Sanctuary Kitchen, which is one of our amazing partners, has a business incubation program and is very much focused on entrepreneurial skills. So didn't want to duplicate a program that already exists and is extremely valuable in New Haven. So the idea behind this is sort of to have a transitional employment opportunity. So it's kind of a step before setting up your own business. It's just sort of getting comfortable in a workplace, starting to work for the first time formally, obviously, because so many of these women have worked informally. And so the idea is really just a job readiness program, finding a job in New Haven. And then obviously, I know we hope that, you know, our graduates will go on to join the food business incubation program at City Seed or Sanctuary Kitchen, or open their own business. But what our objective is really to place them in jobs in New Haven businesses. And that's sort of as a result of, you know, we realize we have this bakery, we have, you know, this incredible trainer and lead chef that can really help other women go through sort of the process that she went through. And that's why we decided to really focus in just on job readiness. And this is really also out of sort of an understanding that a lot of times refugee women don't have the time to spend on educational training, culinary training, because they really need to make an income. And so, you know, a lot of programs don't pay you to do culinary training or things like that. And so it's just not a possibility for women that are looking for a job. And so what our program does, it gives you a job, but it also gives you that educational component. And so it's designed as a transition program.
Is Nida, are you the first graduate of Havenly?
نعم.
So Nida's first language is Arabic, and Katerina is going to translate for her.
Translator's also outside.
Oh,
I'll go check while you guys.
okay. We think Nida's translator has come in, so I'm gonna ask Nida a few questions, but hopefully Katerina will use one of her 6 languages. Oh, let me ask one more question. Are you planning to stay in New Haven?
Yes. So I graduated in May 2018. Was planning to leave, and decided to stay here because the project's off, and I really sort of love the community and the work experience. I'm immigrant and refugee rights, so I am planning on staying.
Beautiful.
And just one more point of clarification. So Nida is not one of the fellows. She's the head chef and lead trainer. So she's going to be with us for sort of the long term.
And what was her connection? You earlier explained that she was an amazing chef. So how did let me actually learn a little bit about Nida's background first, and then I'm going to ask you about how the evolution of your profession at Havenly.
يعني بداية يعني بس نشوف. نعم والله أنا بالبداية يعني إحنا جينا من العراق ورحنا إلى سوريا.
She said she is from Iraq, and then they fled Iraq. The family fled Iraq.
7 سنوات.
When was that?
انتهى.
قبل 2004 طلعنا من العراق.
2004 they left Iraq.
Okay.
ظلينا تقريبا 7 سنوات بسوريا.
She was in Syria for 7 years.
أي بعدين صارت الأوضاع بسوريا تعبانة يعني بسبب الحرب والأوضاع يعني مو هالقد فطلعنا إلى تركيا.
So she stayed in Syria for 7 years, and then they had to leave, and they went to Turkey.
أي ظلينا تقريبا هم 3 سنوات بتركيا.
And أي سنوات؟
3 years.
And they were in Turkey for 3 years.
Yes. بعدين طلعنا اللجوء إلى أمريكا، جينا إلى أمريكا.
Then they got asylum to the United States, and they came to the United States.
What year was that?
2014 جينا.
2014.
14 yes.
And did you come straight to New Haven?
أي هو جينا على نيو هيفن.
Yes, they arrived in New Haven. They were resettled.
And why New Haven? Did you have a choice, or were you resettled here?
New Haven هذا اختار أو لا؟
لا احنا يعني ما اختارنا، هم عليهم على المنظمة.
Yes, they did not choose, but basically the government chooses for you, so they assign you to a certain city.
Okay.
خيار المنظمة جابونا هنا أجرونا بيت وقعدنا بيها صارنا تقريبا 4 سنوات.
Yes, so they got here, they got a house, Iris helped them settle in, and then now they've been here for over 4 years.
فالمنظمة يعني جابت لنا كاترينا وإيدينا.
And she said, the Iris, the organization, the resettlement agency, introduced us to Katerina and Alina, who was their other cultural companion.
نعم فيعني اجوا يعني يساعدون بناتنا بالدراسة وباللغة لأن لغتنا كلش كانت ضعيفة يعني.
She said we helped her daughters with their developing English and sort of doing homework and things like that because their English skills were a bit weak in the beginning.
نعم. فوالله الحمد لله والشكر استفادينا من عندهم يعني فوتوا وجية وسوينا غدا وعشاء فحبوا أكلي حبوا الحلويات مالتي. فورا تقريبا سنة ونص يمكن اقترحت كاترينا هذا المشروع يعني بلشنا بالبداية يعني شيء قليل بعدين الحمد لله الله فتحنا بوجهنا.
They really loved my food, my dinner, my desserts, and then afterwards Katerina came up with this idea and we started doing it.
I just want to welcome a new interpreter. Can you tell us your name?
Yeah, my name is Amal Al-Tarab. I'm a first year at Yale.
Amal, thank you so much.
فالحمد لله والشكر بلشنا أول مرة بالبقلاوة وبعدين بلشنا بالمقبلات الحمص بطحينة والفلافل والبابا غنوج والفطائر والحمد لله والشكر مشى الحال يعني صار عليها مبيعات يعني جدا هواية الحمد لله.
So we started with the desserts with the baklava and then we did finger food such as falafel and hummus,
baba
ganoush, and different finger food, and thank God, like it's picking up and sales are good.
So now you do two things, which is you make and sell baklava, and you're also training and head chef at Havenly.
No.
Yes.
What is so magical about your baklava?
ايش الخلطة السحرية بالبقلاوة؟
هي الخلطة السحرية هي المواد يعني كل العالم يجيبون نفس المواد بس ما تجي من في البقلاوة يعني هي تبع النفس مالتي يعني هي عن نفس.
She said it's my spirit, my love. The ingredients are the same.
يعني هواي أقول لهم جيبوا فلان شي نفس المواد كلها يجيبوها بس ما تطلع نفس الشيء يعني لا تطلع نفس الطعم.
She said it's exactly the same ingredients. The taste is different because of the spirit when you make the actual food.
And can New Haveners access your baklava anywhere other than Yale students? And if so, where?
I can actually answer that question.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, so absolutely. One of the things that we did over the summer was we've developed our online website, which includes a order tab, and you can place orders there as long as you're within the radius. You will have a smiling student that walks your box of baklava to you. And then we also have access to car services should you be a little bit further away.
Okay.
But both of the bakeries that we bake at are whole German breads and Catalina's cupcakes. So those are our bakery partners. All of the production happens there. And you can also do pickup orders at Catalina's Cupcakes. So if the delivery time doesn't work out or whatever, you can just swing by there. Kathy has an incredible array of desserts as well and is a lovely person. And so we encourage you to sample some of her snacks as well.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question about, Nida, about the political environment. Let me just first say you're listening to Kica's Corner on WNHH, New Haven's home for community radio, broadcast on 103.5 FM and live streamed at newhavenindependent.org. So the administration now has gone, we have a relatively new administration that has been around for 2 years, and they've really gone out of their way to disparage refugees, especially those who come from the Middle East.
So الآن بيتكلموا على السياسة شوي وبيتكلموا على الرئيس الجديد وكيف بيشوف اللاجئين بالذات من الشرق الأوسط من سوريا والعراق واليمن كل هذه الدول.
نعم.
ايش تقولي لها؟
والله هي بالبدايه صارت يعني مشاكل، يعني هي بالبدايه صارت مشاكل وضجه، بعدين الحمد لله تعدل الحال، يعني كل شيء رجع كل شيء بمكانه. بس بالبدايه صارت مشاكل وصارت يعني هوايه شغلات، بس بعدين لا يعني انضبط الحال الحمد لله.
She said in the beginning it was really difficult. There were a lot of problems, but now we're getting used to it, and the situation is better.
That's exactly what I was going to get at, which is I just wanted to quote some figures and ask you whether things had changed for you in the time you've been here. But the administration has radically slashed the number of refugees allowed to the U.S. And I just want to provide some context. The administration capped the number of refugees to 30,000. which is on top of an already drastic cut. And we now have the lowest ceiling of any president, right? The lowest number of refugees allowed. And then when you look at Muslim refugees, the numbers are even more atrocious and embarrassing, right? According to government's own data, Muslim refugees peaked at 35,000 in 2016, fell to 22,000 in 2017, and in last year was 3,312. And I just wanted to ask, for you, you said things have gotten better. Does it make a difference? Does your community, your immediate community, make a difference? So in other words, do you feel welcomed in New Haven? And does that help you deal with the challenges of an anti-Muslim administration?
يعني كان بتحدث على كيف رقم اللاجئين نقص زيادة يعني بالذات مع هذا الرئيس الجديد.
لا
فالسؤال يعني لك
نعم
بالشخصية يعني كيف هل تحسي إن الكوميونتي المجتمع هنا في نيو هيفن يعني هل تشعري بال إن هذا بيتك وإنهم مرحبين فيكي أو يعني كيف شعورك في هذه الدولة الذي رئيسها ضد المسلمين وضد اللاجئين المسلمين بالذات؟
لا احنا الحمد لله والشكر يعني احنا متفاهمين يعني ماكو كل اشكال ماكو حتى لو هو يعني كان ضدنا
يعني المجتمع اللي بنيو هيفن
المجتمع
الناس
كل الزين يعني انا ما طول اطلع من بيتي يعني اسلم هذا يقول لي هلا والاسباني والمكسيكي والايطالي وجميع الملل حتى الكنيسه قدامنا كنيسه يعني والله يسلمون علي وانا اسلم عليهم كل مشكله ماكو. الحمد لله المجتمع ما تاثر بهذا الشيء كل شيء ما تاثر الشيء واضح بس بالبدايه يعني صارت شويه مشاكل تخوفنا احنا تخوفنا مو المجتمع تخوف احنا تخوفنا بس من طلعت وشفت الوضعيه كل شيء ماكو كله تمام الحمد لله والشكر ماكو شيء.
She said in the beginning we were scared that we were gonna get attacked, but she gets out in the street and the Hispanic and the Mexican and the Italian and the church right in front of across her home says hi, and the people themselves they're very kind. Yeah, that's why she said.
الحمد لله حتى الكنيسه يعني التشرش قبالنا مقابل بيتنا تطلع هاي يعني الراهبه لابسه هدوم الراهبه تسلم علي انا اسلم عليها يعني من الحمد لله المجتمع ما تاثر الحمد لله لان احنا عندنا عقول يعني احنا مو اطفال يعني تاثر بهالشغلات احنا كنا يعني اخوه ما عندنا كل فرق.
She said we're all brothers and sisters. There's like we're not kids to be easily influenced by just an administration. We have our own minds and we're very kind people. A nun comes out of the church and says salam and peace and hi, just like how I do.
That's beautiful. That's very powerful. And Ben and Katerina, do the administration's policies change your work in any way?
Yeah, so I think one way is just the sheer number of arrivals. It's very different arrivals. They're very much decreasing, which is also why a lot of sort of the resettlement and refugee efforts have really shifted towards long-term or more integration efforts, just because there's not as much need for sort of arrival services, which is interesting because at least, you know, the people that have been here for a while are getting more attention than new arrivals. But unfortunately, it's very sad in terms of the numbers have just decreased drastically, even of people coming into New Haven.
Okay.
And even the people coming into New Haven, it's mostly people that worked with the U.S. government. So people from Afghanistan and Iraq that served with the U.S. military as translators and things like that. So they need a lot less support because they already had a job, because they already speak English. So again, the interesting part is it does allow for more space to be focused on, you know, education, employment for those that have been here for a while. But I definitely think the administration policies have, again, as Nida said, increased, you know, fear and feelings of not being welcome in New Haven. But fortunately, the community has really been supportive in this transition. I think from my perspective, I mean, I hear, you know, what Nida tells me and what the community tells me. So, you know, my perspective is not the perspective of the community. But I think the main issue has been in schools, at least from what I've heard from kids, and just being bullied and things like that. So I do think that the administration is very much affecting the way people see refugees, and especially Muslim refugees. But fortunately, I do think that we're lucky to live in a city that is more welcoming than other places. So I think it's a little bit less evident.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what I would add is that due to the sort of challenges presented to us by the current administration, it only furthers our understanding that Havenly has a duty to act, right? As a group of students that has sort of Yale behind us, we see it as our responsibility when the government federally is not providing the support that it needs to this incredibly rich and important community in the States. We see it as our responsibility to step in and fill that gap, especially with regards to trying to create a platform for collaboration, not just Yale and the refugee community, but New Haven more broadly. If the refugee community can't get that support from the government, then it's organizations like this, Sanctuary Kitchen and Iris and those sorts of groups that have to take the brunt of the impact, and we're ready and excited to do so.
Yes, and one more thing I would add is just this support to resettlement agencies from the government and to any efforts aimed at refugees has just been slashed. So, I mean, that's been a huge problem for Iris. It's been a huge problem for City Seed. It's been a huge problem for resettlement agencies in the entire country. And Iris is lucky enough to have a huge number of donors in New Haven, but its funding from the state has been slashed. Even for us, like applying for state funding for things is almost impossible, just because the government is no longer giving support. And so I think that is really how it affects directly organizations that are really trying to focus on this population.
Nida, how big is the Iraqi community in New Haven?
كم في عراقيين في نيو هيفن؟
نيو هيفن والله قليل، يعني كلها سافرت على غير ولايات، أكثر شيء سوريين أنا أعرف.
She said there are more Syrians than Iraqis.
Okay.
بس العراقيين قليل ينعدون، يعني مو هواية.
يعني 20
تقريبا، والله اللي أعرفهم تقريبا 10 عوائل، يعني اللي أعرفهم أنا.
The ones that I know are about like 10 families, but there might be just a bit more.
والباقي سافروا على غير ولايات يعني.
Different states.
And have your kids settled in well?
كيف أطفالك يعني بالمدرسة مرتاحين؟
لا الحمد لله كنا مرتاحين وأمورنا تمام الحمد لله والشكر.
She said thank God everything is going well.
And I have one last question for you as a woman. You have many more children than I do. And then you make baklava commercially and you're a head chef at Havenly. How do you balance all of that?
كيف يعني بتوازني كل هذه الأشياء، الأطفال والبيت والطبخ والشغل؟
أحب الطبخ، أنا أحب الشغل، أي أحبه يعني، وشي يريدون أسوي لهم، يعني مسوية جدول تيست يعني مثل الجدول أي بالبيت، يعني أسوي لهم الأكلات اللي يريدوها، الحلويات.
بس كيف توازني يعني أشغال البيت والشغل الخارج؟
متعلمة لأن إحنا كنا بالعراق يعني 20 نفر بالبيت، أي يعني فكنا ما شيء أنا أوكلهم يعني، فمتعلمة.
She said I'm used to it. In Iraq, I used to cook for 20 people and more in one house, so cooking is just really my thing, and I'm used to it.
بيتنا كبير كلش، كانوا يعني عائلة، تعرفين احنا العوائل العراقية العربية اطلاقا يعني ويا اهل الزوج نعيش، واطفال وحماوات وبيت كله مليان يعني.
She said, yeah, it's not just one nuclear family, it's the cousins, it's the uncles, so she's always cooking for the whole house.
That's like Latino culture. And one of these days I'm a good cook. I will have you over to my house so you can eat some good Puerto Rican rice and beans.
قالت أنا طباخة جيدة وعاد أعزمك للبيت عشان تأكلي أكلنا.
إن شاء الله هي تجي تفضل يمنا إن شاء الله.
And she said you're also invited to our house.
Oh, thank you.
الأكل العربي، الأكل العراقي، السوري، كيف هي نسوي لها؟
Whatever food you want, Iraqi, Syrian, Arabic food.
Oh wow, beautiful.
حلويات نسوي لها إن شاء الله.
Desserts.
Thank you. We unfortunately are coming to the end of the show, so I'm going to ask Nida, Katerina, and Ben to answer a few questions, which I ask of all of my guests. The first is, who is your hero or shiro?
My shiro is absolutely and totally my older sister, Sarah, who just started studying architecture in New Haven. I'm one of 4. All my siblings are my heroes, but having her here has been just the most amazing gift in the world, and I don't know what I would be or who I would be without her.
I'm going to go with the family trend.
Okay.
My mom, definitely, she's just the strongest woman I know. years.
Is she in Italy? Is she here?
She's actually here. So my family moved to New York 4 years ago.
Okay.
But she just taught me everything I know.
Nida?
No.
قالتوا من بطلك يعني الشخص اللي بتشوفيه ليه قدوتك
قدوة والله هو زوجي وأولادي.
شخص واحد.
شخص هو زوجي هو الأساس يعني هو.
ليش؟
قدوة. أحبه.
She said my husband.
Oh,
I love him.
That's so romantic. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
إذا يكون معك قوة خارقة وش تكون؟
يعني بالنسبة شنو مثل ايش؟
مثل يعني الأبطال إذا معهم قوة خارقة شو تكون؟
أول ما أخذ الجنسية الأمريكية.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this one.
She said the U.S. citizenship.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
أهم شيء الجنسية الأمريكية إذا أخذتها الأبواب كلها تنفتح لي.
She said all doors will open and that is the best power.
يعني أثبت أقدامي أكثر يعني أفكر بعد مشاريع أكثر وأكثر.
She'll think of more projects.
ما أحس روحي يعني لاجئة أحس مواطنة أمريكية.
She wouldn't feel like a refugee but like a citizen.
That's a tough one to follow. Katerina, it's your turn now.
I'm just gonna go with flying.
Yeah. Ben?
I would love the superpower to be able to cook feasts for any number of folks and to have it go perfectly every time and have people smiling around the table.
I don't know if Nida has had New Haven pizza, but if you have, do you prefer Sally's, Pepe's, or modern pizza?
طعمتي البيتزا في نيو هيفن؟
إيه
تاكلي؟
أسوي بيتزا أنا.
لا بس بتاكل يعني من المطاعم.
عادي لا من المطاعم ما أكل.
No pizza?
ما أسويها لا. ما أحب هذول يحطون هواي معجون وصلصة هواي يحطون يعني بيها. معجون هواي يحطون.
They put too much tomato sauce on it.
حشو قليل ومعجون هواي.
Spoken like a true chef.
أنا أسويها بالبيت تجنن.
She said she makes it better at home.
Okay.
حتى طباخ عندي يعني مثل الفرن يعني شلون احنا نقول خبازة. هذا الفرن مال المطبخ أسويه يعني اشتريته $50 أسويه بالبيت كله بالبيت.
She has her own bakery so she makes her own pizza.
What about you?
Modern pizza.
Ben?
I think I'm going to have to go with Pepe's.
Okay. And finally, if you could have one wish granted, what would it be? We'll start with Ben this time.
One wish granted. I think that would be to constantly be able to be engaged in work in my life that is centered around people and to have that work be impactful, empowering, and exciting for everyone involved.
شكرا. Yes.
Go ahead, Katerina.
Yeah, I think definitely sort of same thing, but having a job that has an impact and just sort of feeling like I have made a difference at the end of my life. I hope.
Nida?
Yes.
إذا معك أمنية شو بتكون؟
والله الأمنية أنا أريد يعني هذا المشروع إن شاء الله بإذن الله يكبر يعني أريده يكبر يعني ويصير لنا مطبخ لحالنا إحنا ويعني طلبات تصير يعني هواية يعني إذا صارت الطلبات هواية راح يصير دخل عندنا فلوس هواية راح نستفاد إحنا ونساعد اللاجئين ويانا يعني اللاجئين هواية خطير محتاجين يعني ما عندهم عمل ما عندهم يعني مصدر فنساعد نفسنا ونساعد اللاجئين ومشروعنا إن شاء الله يكبر هذا أمنيتي أنا.
That my wish is for this project to become larger and for more refugees to be able to like get the benefits of such work.
مو بس يعني عرب ندخل بالمشروع ندخل من أفريقيا من أفغانستان من جميع الدول لأن هواي هنا لاجئين أكو.
Not just Arab refugees or Muslim refugees but from
نساعد
everywhere.
الكل نريد نساعد الكل على مود الكل يعني تاكل ما نريد واحد فقير إن شاء الله.
So that no one is starving and no one is poor.
You're listening to Kica's Corner on WNHH, New Haven's home for community radio, broadcast at 103.5 FM and live streamed at newhavenindependent.org. I want to say shukran to
Shukran.
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 I've got to learn Arabic. Shukran to Nida for coming on our show. Shukran to Katerina and Ben and our fabulous interpreter. This brings us to the end of our show. Thank you for listening. Thank you to my guests, Katerina, Nida, and Ben. If you're interested in learning more about Havenly, check out their website. And if you want to buy Nida's baklavas,
you can head to the website as well.
And what's the website?
It's havenlytreats.com.
Until the next time, here is wishing you days filled with justice, sunshine, and lots of delicious baklava.
Thank you.
Thank you.